Democratic state legislator in the Pennsylvania legislature, Brian Sims, had a live stream last night where he revealed that members of the Republican caucus there had apparently tested positive for coronavirus and not told their coworkers on the Democratic side and potentially exposed them to the virus. Take a look.
Learned that for as much as a week, perhaps longer, that House Republican leadership knew that at least one of their members had tested positive for COVID-19, that other members who'd been exposed to him would eventually go on quarantine, but they didn't go on quarantine until they were done serving alongside us, especially those of us that serve on the state government committee. So for those of you that know, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives under our gerrymandered Republican leadership has been perhaps the most active state legislature in the entire country. And during that time period, during the entire COVID-19 crisis, the State Government Committee has been the place where all of these up bills to pretend that it is safe to go back to work have been going. And every single day of this crisis, the State Government Committee in Pennsylvania has met so that their members could line up one after one after one and explain that it was safe to go back to work. It was safe to go back to race car driving or dog grooming or getting your hair cut. Meanwhile, what we're learning is that during that time period, they were testing positive. They were notifying one another, and they didn't notify us.
Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit more on that, but yeah, he was very mad. I would be very mad. I think we can all understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, you're getting people sick on purpose, and you're hiding the truth from people. And I know that while you're a Republican in a state legislature, like that's normal for you. This time, there's actual, palpable, immediate consequences for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what it is. That's what's so frustrating for me personally. And I hear it in his voice. It's just the gall of these people. And that's the powerlessness you feel when a system has gone awry and it's completely been unmoored from specifically like the tenets that folks tell us that we hold sacred in this country when really they don't.
Yeah.
They gerrymandered the district. He already feels powerless there. And then he finds out that these folks have been lying to him about having it so that they can force the state to reopen. That is sick. And it's even more frustrating because you just kind of had that feeling that something like that would happen. But your better instincts to give people the benefit of the doubt probably said, no, that would be a bridge too far for them. And it turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back early on when Trump had been exposed to it, we had debates about would he ever admit it if he actually had it, or would he just pretend that he didn't? I didn't really think about all the other levels of people who might not admit it. And we hear about, like, there were the hairdressers who apparently had symptoms. I don't know that they necessarily knew that they had it, but they did have it, and they had symptoms. They had reason to believe that they had it, and potentially exposed like 140 different people. But the people in the Republican state legislature there, they knew it. I mean,
but like that instinct that you have is to say, all right, I don't know for sure. I'm not going to act as if it is for sure. And that's the difference between like the Trump doctrine and the reasonable, decent person doctrine is in the reasonable,
the John doctrine,
the Dr. John, we call it Dr. John, music reference. But in this situation, he always sings like this. I think he's dead. So anyways, weird. but Trump will act as if, like with voter mail-in voting, they're acting as if it's all completely fraudulent, and they just proceed as that, and that people will do that. When you're like, no, you have to give me evidence before I buy into that argument. No, the Republicans, they don't do that. They just go ahead and we need to act as if maybe that if they have it. If that Trump absolutely has had it and will have it, and if he hasn't had it already and will not tell us about it, then because that's all I can go for, because I can't keep giving this guy the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and Brian Sims, like imagine what you would all think. Those of you watching this video, what you would all think if you found out that I had tested positive and decided to go to work at TYT. Like, what would you think about me as a person?
That's that's it. Like, knowingly is in every criminal case.
Yeah.
Knowingly. Did you knowingly endanger someone? Did you knowingly commit this crime? And yeah, he knowingly. They absolutely knowingly did it.
Yeah.
And
so do you want a
that's
response?
And they should be held responsible. Yeah.
So the person, one of the people involved in this, Representative Andrew Lewis, Republican, said in a Facebook Live address Wednesday night, hours after he publicly announced he had tested positive, that he informed as few people as possible about contracting the coronavirus because he wanted to protect the privacy of those around him, and because he was only in close quarters with a handful of House colleagues. He said, "It's mostly a ghost town here. I only interacted with a couple of people. I did what I needed to do to protect their privacy. They've had time to get their test and all those things." That's BS. So, first of all, it doesn't become moral again if you only expose a few people potentially to a potentially lethal virus. And also the idea that, like, sure, I could have protected your life, but I did you one better. I protected your privacy.
Well, I did you one better in that I didn't protect your life.
Oh, yeah, he eventually also revealed it. So.
That's it. You didn't.
That's true.
That is not a excuse. That's admission of guilt, bud. Mm-hmm. You decided not to tell people, even though you knew you had it, and you don't know how this is transmitted. And everyone needs to go into the same damn building, idiot. Yeah. And at the very least, like maybe, and we should find these solutions like that when they go after mail-in voting. Like, that's the solution. All these things are the answer. We're going
to talk about that. Yeah. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, people are asking, I see, is it illegal to do this? I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a precedent. It seems like it should be.
I didn't sue all the people who knowingly gave me STDs in college.
Jeez.
I didn't follow through.
You know how we react when we see the video of someone in a supermarket coughing on a person who works there because they don't want to be asked to have a mask, or spitting on them or something? And the joke there is, I could have it, and we get outraged. This person knows they have it. So much worse. So much worse.
And yeah, that's the rule of goats, which we talk about on a Happy Half Hour this week. Even if you're ironically having sex with a goat, you still had sex with a goat.
That's true. That's true. I was going to bring that up, actually. But anyway, yeah. And so bear in mind also that Brian Sims, the individual you saw, which we're going to play another one of his videos in just a second, apparently donated a kidney earlier this year, and so is thus immunocompromised himself and hypothetically at greater risk of dying from coronavirus, probably part of his reaction. I want to play just a little bit more of what he thinks should be done now that we know what we know.
First of all, Mike Turzai, the Speaker of the House, needs to resign. And any member of leadership that has known what was going on, any member of Republican leadership that knew that members were testing positive, that other members were being quarantined, and did not tell those of us who were exposed to those members, needs to be investigated by the Attorney General. And I think that there needs to be prosecutions. I'm in a building right now surrounded by members that can't go see their kids, that are having to call their husbands, having to call their wives and saying, honey, I might have exposed you and everybody I love in this world because one of my colleagues tested positive, but he was protecting his family, but not protecting mine. And Republican leadership protected him.
And just like the instinct or the reason they stayed there, and also the reason that they stayed in the session was to pass laws to further endanger people. They lied about the dangers so that they could open up the economy and put more people at risk. And usually it's like when you see a doctor scrub in before a surgery, you're like, oh, this person takes it seriously. Mm-hmm. This story is like you're about to go in for surgery and the doctor takes a handful of poop and a cheeseburger and starts like all over the place and is like, all right, scalpel. That's what just happened. And that's why he's so upset. And you would want what? You would want that doctor to lose their medical license. And he wants these legislators to lose their positions as legislators. And he's absolutely 100% right.
Yeah, I don't know that there are legal remedies. There 100% should be. You can't willingly expose someone to a virus, lethal or not, but especially lethal. You can't do that. And imagine if it was the other way. Like some Democratic representative knows they have coronavirus, goes up and shakes Trump's hand. What do you think Sean Hannity would say that night? What do you think Laura Ingraham would say? Honestly, what do you think? Anyway, I understand his anger. Brian Sims and others there are now worried about the possibility that they have it, that they exposed their family to it, feeling entirely manipulated and lied to. I understand that feeling.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.